people, what's going on? I'm going to talk to you a little bit today. It's Thursday. Talk about music. I was listening to the radio right quick. Just a quick comment. Worthless American media. All they're talking about is Trump and Cruz. Nothing about Bernie Sanders. It's a circus, and they just play it for profit. They don't care about fixing nothing. That's why I always go on. They're talking about Trump. What a waste. Okay, so the last video I put up was just a snippet of last night's rehearsal of my new band, Chemicals. And a couple folks asked if we have a Bandcamp page. No, the band is brand new. Matter of fact, that was like maybe... I played shows with the drummer, a few shows, but the guitar player, who's only 17... that boy, he's going to be good. He's good already. And the drummer's only 19. I love playing with young people. But we're just pulling it together. We have a show next week, so we don't have a band camp or anything yet. It's just now coming together. Very exciting, though. I'm very excited. I like playing with young people. I like playing with good musicians. Both these guys are music students. They can read. I can't read. I play by ear, but I can learn almost anything. So it's been fun. The way that I'll roll this into showing some records was, so John Evans, the drummer, and I met last year and we're becoming good friends and very obvious musical collaborators. He is a ball of fire and he's very good. Cubby on guitar, I met through the guitarist that John and I were working with, Luke Polipnik. Cubby was a student of Luke's. Luke is in India right now, or actually he's in Thailand right now, studying music. One practice that I was doing with John and another musician, saxophone player, John said, I got a buddy of mine that can jam. I just want him to come in and see. And Cubby came in and blew my mind, especially at his age, playing so much jazz. But so after we got done rehearsing, and then so we're playing originals. We're playing some of John's compositions, some of mine, and we're also covering, which is cool. We're covering Flying Lotus, Hiatus Coyote, and what's the other one? It's a new to me artist, Mar featuring Full Crate. They have a groove that John likes that we're doing. But anyway, after we rehearsed last night before Cubby's dad came and picked him up, I showed Cubby my music room because last night was his first time over at my house. I generally don't have band rehearsals here because my house is so small, but we didn't have any choice last night. We have a space that we're using tonight, an art gallery that's letting us rehearse there. But anyway, Cubby had saying, well, I've been seeing your videos and I can't wait to see your music room. So came in here and his eyes popped out and stuff, and we're talking music. I said, so, name an artist that you like, what would you, is there something, who do you wonder that I have? And so he says, well, do you have any Keith Jarrett? This was fun because we got going. So I said, well, yeah, I got some Keith Jarrett right here. And pulled a bunch, including the solo concerts box set. But the one that he spotted, that he said, well, I have several Keith Jarrett albums. Keith Jarrett has a ton of records. But he spotted this one and said, I've always wanted to hear this. Invocations, The Moth and the Flame, Keith Jarrett. And what he said about this one, I've had this for a while now, haven't listened to it for a while, is that Keith Jarrett plays saxophone on here, which I had forgotten, soprano. So while we're looking at records, I went ahead and put it on. Beautiful. Fantastic. So I discovered something in my own collection I didn't have. I said, well, what else? Try to stump me. I said, matter of fact, okay, well, try to stump me. You obviously like jazz. He said, you got any Eberhard Weber? And I said, well, yeah, I got Eberhard Weber. So I went over here. It was fun because his eyes kept popping because Eberhard Weber, Little Movements, Everhard Weber's Orchestra, Fluid Russell. I'm not going to try to annotate these, showing them too quickly, but it was just fun to. These are fantastic albums. You know, it was great because, you know, he said it was just great to meet someone who has records and and they have something other than Pearl Jam. I said, well, keep going, guy. What else? He said, who else? Who else do you like? He said, well, do you have any Evan Parker? And I said, well, Evan Parker records are kind of hard, are kind of expensive, but I do have. But he said, well, I was thinking about Music Improvisation Company. I said, yeah, I got that, Music Improvisation Company, with Dereck Bailey, Evan Parker, and the Cats. So I pulled that, was fun. He said, what about, you don't have any John Sermon, do you? So I had to look. I know I do. So I pulled it. Sermon, over here. Yeah, over here. Yeah. So I just have a couple on vinyl. But it was great because I said, okay, well, we've gotten this far. Now I want to see if you can stump me. So I showed him this one and this one. He was thinking about Morning Glory, that John Sermon album called Morning Glory. I used to have it. I don't own it anymore. Then he mentioned, he said, well, what about Ralph Towner? You like Ralph Towner? Sure, I love Ralph Towner. Pulled a bunch of Ralph Towners to show. The boy is a music head, my kind of person, you know. Only 17 and he knows about this stuff and he's playing the way he's playing. And I showed him this one, and this one, again, he said, I've never seen it before. Trios and Solos. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. And an early ECM release, so I don't think this was ever released in America. So it's kind of hard. He asked about Cecil Taylor, so I just have a little bit of Cecil Taylor. But it was fun, you know. Cecil Taylor. What's new? Cecil Taylor, Indent. This is the shit, people. This is the shit. This is why I say what I say about, you know, coffee table jazz like Kenny G. This is the real deal. I mean, all jazz is good, but this is some meat, man, this is the shit. Cecil Taylor, please, okay? So then I said, okay, let's keep going. So he finally stumped me on Tony Oxley. I have Tony Oxley on John McLaughlin and John Sermon records, but I don't have any Tony Oxley solo albums. Those are very collectible and pricey. But it was fun to share. You know, every artist that he asked about I have, including the Tony Oxley, but not a solo album. That was fun. So as the band develops, we'll be getting some stuff online, and you can check us out. Very exciting. I love working with young people. I love improvisation. And about a third of what the band does is improvised. And as you can see in the clip, the drummer John, he's a fireball. He can play. He's got good skills. I mean, Tony Williams is one of his idols, and he can approach that Tony Williams sort of approach. I'm loving this very much. So a little bit of music there for you. Another quick visit. I'll talk to you.